I ended our perfect relationship on a Tuesday night, convinced he would chase after me and prove his love. Instead, he looked me in the eyes, said okay, and walked out of my life forever. Hi everyone, I'm Emma, and today I'm sharing a story that will make you question everything you think you know about love and testing relationships. Before we dive into this emotional roller coaster, I need to know, have you ever tested someone's love for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this story might change how you see relationships forever. This story comes from Jessica, a 25-year-old marketing assistant who thought she had found her perfect match. For 18 months, she had been dating Marcus, a kind, dependable guy who never missed a birthday, always showed up when he said he would, and had already become part of her family's Sunday dinners. But Jessica's mind started playing dangerous games. She would scroll through social media, watching her friends post dramatic stories about boyfriends who fought through tears to win them back after arguments. Meanwhile, Marcus was just there, steady, reliable, present. Where was the passion? Jessica wondered. Where were the grand gestures, the dramatic declarations of love? The doubt crept in slowly at first. Jessica started questioning whether Marcus truly loved her or if he was just comfortable. She watched romantic movies where men moved mountains for their women. She read stories online about boyfriends who refused to give up, who showed up with flowers after fights, who proved their devotion through persistence. Marcus had never had to prove anything. He had never fought for her because he had never needed to. And that, Jessica decided, was the problem. How do you really know someone loves you unless they have to prove it? She asked herself night after night. The question consumed her thoughts until she convinced herself that their relationship was too easy, too comfortable, too safe. She needed to know for certain. She needed a test. Jessica spent days planning the perfect scenario. She chose a random Tuesday evening, right after they had enjoyed a lovely weekend together. The timing would make it more shocking, she reasoned, and therefore more likely to trigger the passionate response she craved. She practiced her speech in the mirror, rehearsed looking sad but determined, and prepared for what she was certain would be Marcus's desperate attempt to save their relationship. When Marcus arrived at her apartment that evening, he was relaxed and happy, completely unaware of the emotional bomb she was about to drop. He leaned in for their usual hello kiss, but Jessica turned her face away. "Marcus," she began, her voice trembling with false conviction, "I've been thinking about us and I don't think this is working anymore. I want to break up." She waited for the explosion of emotion, the tears, the questions, the desperate pleas. Instead, Marcus looked at her quietly for what felt like forever. Then, in a calm voice that shattered all her expectations, he simply said, "Okay." Jessica stared at him in disbelief. This wasn't the script she had written in her mind. Where was the passionate declaration of love? Where were the questions about what went wrong? "That's it?" she finally asked, her voice cracking. "Just okay?" Marcus shrugged, looking genuinely confused by her reaction. "If that's how you feel, I'm not going to try to change your mind. I respect your decision." Respect? Jessica didn't want respect. She wanted desperation. She wanted him to fight. "So you're just going to walk away?" she pressed, her composure cracking. "After 18 months together, I meant that little to you?" Marcus looked even more puzzled. "You just told me you wanted to break up. I'm trying to respect that decision." The frustration boiled over. "You're supposed to fight for me," Jessica blurted out. "You're supposed to care enough to at least ask why." Something changed in Marcus's expression then. A flash of hurt, realization, and disappointment crossed his face. "Wait," he said slowly. "Was this some kind of test?" Jessica couldn't admit it directly, but her desperation showed in her voice. "I just thought if you really loved me, you'd want to know what went wrong instead of accepting it without a word." Marcus stood up slowly, running his hand through his hair. The man she had known for 18 months suddenly seemed like a stranger. "Relationships don't work like that, Jessica," he said quietly. "You can't say you want to break up when you don't mean it and expect me to read your mind." He moved toward the door, and panic seized Jessica's chest. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. "That's it? You're just going to leave after everything we've shared?" Marcus paused at the doorway and looked back at her with an expression she had never seen before. a mixture of sadness and finality. "You said you wanted to break up," he replied. "I'm respecting your decision. What else am I supposed to do?" In a last desperate attempt to get any emotional reaction, Jessica shouted, "You're just a cold-hearted person who never really loved me." Marcus shook his head sadly. "I'm not going to do this, Jessica. When you're ready to have an honest conversation, let me know. But I don't play games." And then he left. Actually left. No tears, no begging, no dramatic gesture. He simply walked out of her life. Jessica spent that first night cycling between tears and rage, waiting for a call or text that never came. By morning, she was convinced his reaction proved what she had suspected. He hadn't loved her enough. But as days turned into weeks with no contact, reality began to set in. She had broken up with him, and he had simply accepted it and moved on. The panic was overwhelming. She might have lost him for good over a stupid test. Her friends started asking questions, and Jessica found herself crafting different versions of the story for different audiences. To some, she was the victim of an emotionally unavailable man. To others, she was the mature one who had tried to make things work. But not everyone believed her narrative. 3 weeks after the breakup, Marcus's sister called Jessica directly. "I talked to Marcus," she said without any pleasantries. "He told me what really happened. Did you really break up with him as some kind of test?" Jessica tried to deny it, but the sister cut her off. "Do you understand how manipulative that is? To end a relationship you don't actually want to end just to test someone's reaction?" The call ended abruptly, leaving Jessica staring at her phone in shock. How dare they judge her for wanting to know if Marcus truly loved her? As weeks passed, Jessica became obsessed with getting Marcus back. She convinced herself that persistence was key, that if she just showed him how much she cared, he would have to take her back. She started showing up at places she knew he frequented, texting him constantly, and even appeared at his workplace with a congratulatory gift when she heard about his promotion. But Marcus's response was always the same: calm, firm requests for space that Jessica couldn't respect. The final breaking point came when she created such a scene at his office that security was nearly called. The humiliation was crushing. That night, Marcus sent a final text. "Don't contact me again. If you do, I'll have to take formal steps to enforce that boundary." 6 months later, at a mutual friend's party, Jessica saw Marcus with his new girlfriend, Rachel. They looked genuinely happy together, communicating easily, laughing naturally, sharing the kind of healthy connection Jessica had destroyed with her games. A friend mentioned they had gotten engaged after just 6 months together. 6 months, less time than Jessica had spent trying to win Marcus back after her test. Standing there, watching the life she could have had, Jessica finally understood the devastating truth. Marcus hadn't failed her test of love. She had failed his test of trustworthiness. This story serves as a powerful reminder that love isn't about dramatic gestures or passing tests. Real love is built on trust, honest communication, and respect. All things Jessica threw away the moment she decided to play games with Marcus's heart. If this story touched you or made you think differently about relationships, please give it a like. Share it with friends who might need to hear this message, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss these powerful life stories. Remember, the strongest relationships are built on honesty, not tests. Until next time, this is Emma reminding you that sometimes the most loving thing someone can do is walk away from your games.